How you doing, YouTube friends? In this video, I'm gonna show you this amazing plugin by ML Sounds or ML Sound Lab, and it's under Empt Series bundle, which is an AC30 emulation or simulation, and I've been playing it for a few minutes, and I'm really liking it. So if you're looking to get you don't have an HX stump or any modeler, but you have your computer, you can plug this into an interface. I mean, you can plug your interface into your computer and use this as an amp. And let me show you real quick what I really like about this VST, other than the sound. But let me quickly break it down for you. You have your tuner, which is at the beginning of the signal. Then you have like a virtual pedal board. You have compression, drive, chorus, delay, and reverb. Um, the only thing I don't like about this setup is that the delay and the reverb, you can't put it like post the amp, or you don't have a lot of settings where to put exactly the reverb. But it's not bad because I would really like this as a standalone amp. But you get some reverb if you want to. You can turn it off. I do like that you have compression, but it's a very simple compression. I would like to see more settings like threshold, attack, release. If you can play with sustain, blend, that'd be great options. But for this part, I think I keep it around here. It sounds all right, but I would not really use this pedal board in this VST. Um, but you can use it if you want to. I would just probably use it here if I have my pedal board and I don't have a compression. And then from your pedalboard, you have the top of the amp, and then you have your cabinet. Now, I really like this cabinet. It sounds very decent, and you don't have a lot of options that would drive you crazy. So basically, you can choose from two different amps and two different speakers. So you have a 1960 speaker, which it should be like a silverback, and you have a more modern style, which is a 90 sound, but it's also vintagey, but it's more like a blueback. So that is amazing that you can choose one cabinet. You can switch your speakers. Not only that, you can choose what microphone you want. And my go-to is always a ribbon, the Royer 121, and I would use the either the Sennheiser MD 421, or I would choose the Beyerdynamic 160. That one's great too, and I'll put it right here more towards the middle of the cab. I mean, the middle of the cab, and then I'll just put the Royer like kind of off the side of the cone, and then if you bring it back, you can choose the distance. But I like it close. I like that response, and I'll put them around there. So if I'm using the cone, since I have a little more bass response, I will use a blueback or a 90s tone. And if I want a little bit more like a smooth trebly sound, I'll use a 60s model, and I'll put it like kind of the cab in the edge, like around there. And that's mostly how I usually would use any VST. I will look for this setting because you can play around with it. But I have the dynamic 121. I'm gonna leave the Beyerdynamic 160, and then let's go to the amp. Now in the amp, you get two versions of it, and you have three settings on each. You get 1990s bright, it says right here. Then you get a normal, which is very neutral, friendly. It sounds great. Then you get a jumped if you want a little more aggressive sound. Then you get a 60s bright, which is like a top boost. Then you get a normal, and you can see a switch in here, the inputs, which is very cool. Or a jumped, which it jumps your normal into your bright, and then you play with the settings. But that's a lot of options and very usable options. You can set your MIDI if you want to use a MIDI controller, but in this case, I don't think I would use to change MIDI on the pedal board. Maybe I use the MIDI to change. Let's see if you have um, distance. No. I want to change presets. Let's see if it has level, drive, cut, delay. No. Can you change presets in here? Position 1, crossfader, sim. I don't think it lets you. OD level, tone, drive, cut. Well, that would have been great if I would just change settings and not use anything from the pedalboard on the MIDI. But that's basically what it sounds like. And I created my preset. So I'm gonna go here in my presets and I'm gonna look the one I like. Where are we? Presets. Okay, so clean 60s. That's kind of the tone I like. That'll be one of them, and this is the one I just created. And let me show you to you. I made it more like a pedal friendly style. Um, and I'm using a modified guitar. I have a Epiphone GT, which has a tremolo. I like it, and I changed it to Wilkinson P90s pickups, and it sounds amazing. So this is how it sounds. That's the bridge pickup. It is chimey, middle position. And the neck. That sounds great. That's a good starting point. It's kind of like my preset. I have a little bit of input. This guitar is pretty hot. The pickups are pretty aggressive, but you can choose. Let's start with the 90s bright, and I'm using the same cabinet, which is the 1960s, and one, or in the left, and on the right I'm using the 1990s with a bare dynamic 121. Let's change it to the ribbon 160, and let's just leave it there. Let's go to the amp, and that's on the neck, middle. Has a little bit more bite there. I do like the bright setting on the modern. It sounds great right there. That's a normal, which is less. More neutral sounding. Yeah, it's pretty great. I like how it responds to your playing, and then you get the jump, which is a little bit more aggressive. And you can play around with the output. Let's say I'm going to turn down the output, and then let's just give more volume, which would be like the gain. Turn down the cut a little bit, and then the treble should give me. Well, if I lower the volume on my guitar, it doesn't clean up as much as a real amp would do, but it's pretty decent. Now let's go to the 60s bright. This is one of my favorites too. And then you can just play with the cut and the output. I can just lower this. And then put a little bit more output just so. That sounds pretty good. And then you go into the normal, the same as the more neutral, but still has a little bit of bite there. So what I could do is just lower my gain and just put a little more input, and okay, lower the volume. It responds a little bit better with the volume changes on your guitar. And then let's just jump. And for this one, I'm gonna lower it. I'm gonna crank up the volume. It has you can feel when you're playing the difference between the 60s and the 90s, and that's what I really like about this plugin. It responds differently, and I love the idea of this, that you can have different microphones and you don't have like a crazy selection. Just I would always use an MD 421 in the Royer. I would like to see an AKG, but it's okay. The Royer is great too, and then you can play with it how much you want your tone. You can just put it one side to the other side, or leave it right in the middle. I think in the middle it's perfect, and includes a tuner, which is great. If you just want to practice. So it changed the characteristics by just changing this microphone. I'm gonna use the. Do like this better dynamic better than the MD121, but it depends. It depends what you're looking for, and you can experiment as much as you want. And that's pretty much it. This is a very simple to use uh, VST, and I would definitely use this as a backup in case that you need an amp and you're gonna rehearse, or you need to uh, do some tracks and you don't have an AC30 and you want a good sounding AC30. You can use this. I believe you can import your own IRs in here, so you can put your custom IRs. And I haven't tried mine. I have a capture of a Celestian Silverback from a 63 model. Um, and I also have I think it's a 73, 75 Blueback also. And I don't think I have a ribbon or the Dynamic, but I do have a model with the Royer 121, and I do have a model of the MD 421. So I'm gonna try that later and see how it responds. But so far, I'm happy with this tone, and I think it sounds great. I can use a little bit of uh, you know, uh, uh, post EQ, or just put the cut a little bit higher, so it's not so harsh. Put it down. I do like a little bit brighter maybe there. Alright friends, I hope you like this quick video. If you're looking for a AC30 simulation to record, play live, or as a backup, or for practice, and you already have your pedal board, this is a great option. I'll see you in another video. I have a couple more that I want to review, and I'll talk to you soon. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a comment if you liked it. What was your favorite setting, if you have one of these, or if you recommend a couple other. And I'm gonna keep uploading videos on amazing AC30 tones. And there's also another of my favorite amps, which is the Dumble, and I'm gonna upload later on another video because I got both of them. I got the bundle, and it includes the Dumble and the AC30, which I think they're amazing. All right, friends, I'll see you in another video. God bless.